All right, in today's bonus session, we're going to be trying to implement this scenario you see. It's a KPI report that was requested where they want this thing called an accounts receivable turnover ratio. The account receivable turnover ratio, this is the information I received about it, is just seeing how many times your company turns accounts receivable into cash. Basically, the calculation that we need to do is the net credit sales divided by the average accounts receivable. Now, when I first started thinking about this, it was something where I said, oh, maybe I'll just create a generic inquiry and dump it out. But there would be a way that it's going to, since the ARM and class 350 was on my mind, I said, I think we can solve this using the analytical report writer. The only thing I'm going to have trouble with is this net right there. And I'm going to explain that in just a second. We would have to have our GL accounts set up a little better than I do in my demo data to actually measure that, because within our sales revenue account that we're going to be using to add up our sales, we don't break out net versus, and even within the sub accounts, I don't have a way of breaking out gross and net versus what kind of sales were made on credit versus what kind of sales were made as cash. Using the sales order construction, I would have that capability because you have different types of sales orders which would measure that. But for now, we're going to create the report, and we're going to assume that our one account was well-versed and just contains credit sales. So that's the one caveat that I have to this. So let me go in and log in. I'll show you real quickly what I mean. In the general ledger, we have our chart of accounts, and we have all of our sales accounts. Let me just do it this way. Contains sales. So here's all our sales accounts. If we had broken out one of these to be credit sales and another to be cash sales, then this would be impeccable. However, we're not going to do that. The other thing that we're going to be using is this AR. So remember the over here in the denominator, the average accounts receivable was what we needed. So now what we're going to do is we're going to basically these are two different ideas. So we're going to start with creating a new report, and then we're going to try and build this out so that we can get something that's close to what we need to show here. So I'm going to move that aside, and I'm going to start opening up my reporting screen. So let's start opening up. We'll open up a report definition. We're going to need a row set, and we're going to need a column set. So 1 second while my system catches up to me. All right, there's my column sets. For column set, some of the typing and other things on the top is nice to have. All this, I don't want to have to type all that over. So I'm going to copy my balance sheet to get that started. So I'm going to do copy column set, and I'm going to call this average AR turnover, ART, we'll call this. All right, and average, or I'm sorry, AR turnover. Oops. Okay, we'll go in here and make a quick change so I don't get confused. AR turnover. And that should be good enough to get us a column set. On the row set, we're going to be bold. We're going to start from scratch on that one, because I don't think anything we have out there is going to resemble this too much in terms of what we want to do. So we got the brand new one, and then in our report definition, just to save myself a little bit of time with filling out all this stuff, I'm going to do a copy there too. So I'm going to copy this to my ART report. Hit copy AR turn over. Hit save. Oops. Hold on, I might have messed something up there. Let's see if I might have overwritten mine. Well, okay, let me just make sure I did that. Oops. Well, all right. Let me see. Make sure I can do this. AR turnover. We don't need branches. We need art as our row and art as our column. Ledger, that's fine, actual ledger. We'll need a start and an end period, so we're going to request both of those. To simplify entry, I'm just going to go grab what data I have out here, hit save. Let me do a site refresh, get my everything all set here, and look at my AR turnover report, which should be blank at this point other than a header, because I don't have anything, I haven't organized anything in my row set. All right, so now remember what I said. We're going to start, let me see, let me get a look at our column set has a space there, so we can just start going right away with basically coding on our row set. So we're going to start, we're going to have to grab sales and AR. So we'll see if we can go in and grab those amounts. That should be relatively easy to get. So we'll back this guy out again. We'll go in here and start working on our sales in AR. So let's do 030 sales GL. And remember our data source here could be our sales. Now, if we wanted to be specific, we may not, we're going to grab all sales, but remember if we'd had actually this broken out, we would have been able to pick a specific sales account, which is our credit sales account. And I think that should be all that we're going to need there. I'm not going to expand it because basically we're just looking for the total number here, the total amount of sales. Let's see, I guess I couldn't, I'll just leave zeros as indent. And let me think, we may need to come back later on and start linking things together. We may need to use a base row as well, but for now, let's just do it that way. And then the other one we want is average AR. So we're going to go grab our account class equal to accounts receivable for that. All right, so that is going to be the simple numbers that we're going to need for what we have to do. So if we go back to our turnover report, refresh it and run it, we should get a couple of numbers there. Now I have to be careful about these numbers that I'm grabbing. The average AR may in fact just be an addition of all the ARs in those months, which is okay. But I think we're using turnover for this. And I think what I'd rather use is ending balance. So 1 second while we go in and have a quick, we are using ending balance. I wanted to use for the sales, I want to use turnover because I want to keep track of all the different sales, and I want to use ending balance for my sales, or for AR. So once again, turnover, I think. So let's keep an eye on 14 million and 1 million. And we're going to rerun this now that I've changed this from ending. I changed it from ending balance to turnover. So we should. I would expect that we'll see some difference. And okay, so you see 14, and then obviously the turnover. The good news is sales didn't change. The average AR becomes very small at this point. So we really want ending balance for average turnover. And my suspicion is that we're going to want, it didn't look like my number changed, which kind of surprised me. But I think we want turnover for sales, and we want ending balance. We're going to say that we want, for the purposes of this exercise, we want ending balance for our average AR. All right, so now we come in. So that's one number. Now the tricky part is, remember what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take in two different types of additions here. So this is where the learning is going to come in. I want to use I want to add up one column by ending balance, and I want to end up, and I want to add up sales by by turnover. So let's go in, and we have to create a new column to make that happen. So we're going to make this we'll select ending balance here, and we'll make this one turnover. And I'm going to do a copy, and I'm going to paste my style. Once again, copy, paste. I think that should do it. And now, if I go back to here, we will rerun our report, and we should have a couple of different columns. Okay, so I did pretty well with managing things to get that to work out. All right, so let's go in and work on getting this fixed first, so we can actually use something a little nicer, and that one as well. Okay. Now let's just assume for what we want to do that we don't want all these, we don't want different numbers showing up in these locations. So for the sales, we want this first number, and for average AR, we're going to want this second number right there. Basically, we're just going to measure the AR at the end of the period. And we don't want to get confused by all these different numbers. So now we have to start doing what you remembered, hopefully from your lesson yesterday, where we're going to use these printing groups to designate where we want these rows to appear. So this column, the turnover column, we want that to be sales, and we want this one to be AR. So simply put, we'll create those. So then we go over here into our column group, and we say that one's sales, and that one is AR. And give that a quick check and see how we're doing. So now we've got our two totals showing up where we kind of want them to be. Now the thing that you'll notice is because I started doing that, I lost my headings here. There's probably a more elegant way to work around this. The way I work around it is by this. I'm going to create a caption line called sales and make it 31. And I'm not going to list a column group there. And I'll hit save. And I'll create another line called average AR. Oops. And I'll make that a caption. And I'm going to use a new thing that you didn't learn in class. I'm going to use this printing control where I'm going to say merge next. So that's going to merge that with the next line. And well, actually, let me not do merge next immediately so you can see what happens. So we'll keep the line breaks. This is going to create obviously a 4-line report, which is not what we want. So it kind of has everything, but you'll see my sales appears down there. So what we want to do is I want to go back to my row set. Now I'm going to apply this merge next to these two guys. I think that's going to get us back down to the 2 columns and keep our there. So we got this. Now on the other thing that we might want to do is over here. We want to remember yesterday we got into that discussion of which columns to use, where and when and how and all that. So maybe we're going to make this one a merge next and make this column hidden, and that will move that number over under that if we want to keep our report nice. Once again, not really going to be required for what we're doing, but it could be a nice thing to give a try to since we are here in play mode today. So we'll do merge next, and I'll leave print for now. We'll see if we have to come back and fix that. Okay, so leaving the print did a nice little thing where it left a bit of space there. So let's go back and see if we can eliminate that. Do hidden, save our turnover, run. Run. Okay, so now we have our report. We've got sales and average AR. So now we got to do our calculation because we actually want to print out what the AR turnover ratio is. So we're going to go into our row set, and first thing I'm going to do is maybe I'll add let's see, add space. Maybe I'll add a line next. So we'll go 060. We'll do a line just so we can have a small line, breaking that up. Or maybe I want to do something else. Let's leave space. I got another idea. We'll use another construction we haven't used with the line. So I'm just going to add another caption, which is going to be a little bit of spacing there. And now we're going to add a box type construction. We haven't played with that before, so that wasn't in the class. But you'll notice that when we do the lines, there's another option. Yep, called. Oops. Where's my box? Should be start box here. Where are you, Mr. Start Box? Oh, over here, printing control. Start box. So we didn't use that the other day, but we're going to go ahead and do that. I don't know if I have to set the line style. I can't remember. We're going to leave it blank for now. Then we'll go 80. We'll put our AR turnover ratio in here. And this is going to be our actual calculation that we're going to make. So we're going to have to divide one by the other in here. So it's going to be a total column. And for now, let me just leave it as a caption for now, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do it later. I want to play with my box first here. I'm putting formatting before substance here. Clearly not a way to do things. And save. Let's see how we're doing. Rerun. Okay, so now we've got our nice little box. Now you notice the end of our box comes right to the edge there. So I'll probably have to, maybe I can put a little extension on that column. Let me see if that works. Once again, I'm in a little of new territory here. So we're not, that's hidden. So let's try putting 20 extra spaces on there, see what happens. Guessing nothing, but we'll give it a try. Yeah, as expected, not what I wanted. So let's go back, clear that. And the only way I know to get around that would be to put another short column in that's just basically a description or a caption or something like that with no information. So let's try putting in a 20 there. And I'll leave everything else as is. This we might, and let's see how that looks. Too much box. Anyway, I'll play with that a little bit later, maybe move it back. So now we're going to actually do our calculation. So we want to take basically this cell and divide it by that cell. So we're going to come back into the, back to what we had in our row set, and we're going to start trying to do this calculation. So this is going to equal, so I wanted to pick out that first cell. So if you recall from the other day, we used this thing called a value function. I can never remember where it is. Here it is, which is going to take our row and our column and plug it in. Now for the row, we want our sales, it's on top, so that's 30. So we're going to reference that. Remember, in one place you go at 0030. Within this formula, it's a little different. It's this 0030. So that's our row. And our column was B, if I recall correctly. Let me just save that temporarily and go over here and double check B. Yeah, this is our sales. And then C is going to be our guy that we want to use for the next one. So we'll go into this next guy, and we'll do it divided by value bam 0050 comma C. Very manual, but that's all right. We'll see. We should get us desired result. Now, we haven't specified a format for this yet, so I think I'm going to have to do that as well. Since it's a turnover ratio, we're going to do, let me add 1 decimal point to that one, just so we do it. It's a total column, so we'll bold it maybe. And we'll see how this goes. So let's see if we've got our appropriate calculation. It's not showing up. Oh, that's right, because that's the sales column. Shoot. All right, let me do this. There's probably a more elegant way to design this. I'm going to use my other formula, my other thing that I did before. So now it's going to print there, but I'm going to lose this AR turnover ratio in terms of my caption if I do this. At least that's what I expect to happen. Let's give it a test. Ooh, nothing. I did lose the AR turnover ratio. Let me go fix that part first, because I know that's easy. Make that a caption and hit save. And then I'm going to do merge next and bold that guy as well. Save. And let's see what I've got going on now. Why is my total not showing up? So sales should print in the sales column. Make sure my calculation is all right. I accidentally moused right on it. I got a caption here. I forgot. I went and didn't want to print that. There we go. Let's see if that actually gives us a number now. All right, so here we go. All right, so there we go. We got our 12, and then I assume if we go back and just look at 1 month, it should be, we get a month by month. So our average turnover ratio for that month is 1. Now, what you can see the problem is the length of time is going to be starting to impact my results. So the problem is I'm not really selecting the average. I'm basically adding up everything here. So it would probably make sense to divide this guy right here, my average AR. I actually want that to be divided by however many financial periods I have. That would be the next thing that I would have to do to tidy this up a bit. Now, in order to do that, I can do a couple things. I could put a hidden row in here. I can make this one hidden and do a calculation that uses that row and then basically computes the number of financial periods that we would need. So that would be the final check that I would have to do to go make that happen. So I'm not sure I want to take that on right now. Do I know how to get that without fumbling and bumbling around everybody? Let's give it a try. This could be a disaster, but all right. So we're going to declare success in the fact that we have a reasonably formatted report that does mostly what we want it to do. Obviously, I've got some things to fix in terms of this doesn't make any sense. So we could do things like we want to basically put the start and the end period in here. So in order to do that, we would do from, we'll do a format, that one. We're going to want another one here. I'm going to copy this construction and I'll do, oops, I'll do that. And where's my close parenthesis? Oh, I got it. And we got to define this as variable 1 and report get period, start period. Oh, I'm not sure I'm capturing all the right parentheses here, but let's see how we do. And I'm going to replace start period with end period here so we get more of a range. And end period should be up here. End period. Okay, so that's good news. The validation passed. So now we should be able to... I didn't format my thing correctly. Back to my column set. What I typically would do in a situation like this... Oh, I know. I've got to redo this format. Let's do... I tried to put them in both into one. Shoot, how do I do that? I forgot, basically. I would go back to an old report and make sure, I can't remember, so I've defined this variable here, and then that's the variable that I want to replace in there. And then I want to basically do that again. So let's do it. Let's do it a little bit of a safer way here. So now we're going to go back to our original format. And I think that's the close. Yep, and then we're going to do add a dash in there, space dash space, plus format, hit it, colon. I think there's a way to, once again, be more elegant about all this, but month, slash day, slash y, close, comma, number, validate. Missed a, added an extra. Missing. Closing parenthesis. Let me make sure I got that. Format, that, open, close from format. Oh, missed one here. Validate. Okay, save, run. All right, well, rather than spend a lot of time fixing that up, I'm missing some, I'm missing a little bit of some minor pieces there. So I'd have to fix that later. I got a couple comments, ones that I'm leaving out sales tax, and I should include the taxes. That's a good point. We should probably, if I was doing this for a client instead of a demonstration, I would probably add another line in here and pick up any taxes that I have in addition to sales, add them together, and then use that number in my turnover ratio. So thanks for pointing that out. That would be a good thing to do. I probably am not going to do it. It would be a fairly simple exercise if I needed to do it. The other thing I think we said we wanted to take a look at was modifying the average AR to use, so we're going to go 049 average AR. We're going to basically do the same thing I did before, and then we're going to use we're going to hide this guy. Oops. And hit that. That's fine. He can go. Well, we can put him there for now. So now I've got two rows that are going to show the same thing. I'm going to make this one hidden, and then I'm going to make this a total. And I'm going to make this. We're just going to test it out real quickly. This is going to be equals. I can do a sum. I can do this value. That's kind of doesn't make sense, but I'll do it just because I know it's simple. You normally just reference the row set here. So I think that's equals 0049. Validate. Okay. Save. So let me make sure I haven't messed up anything at this point. We should still get a similar result. Didn't like that construction. Oh, that's right. I have to use the @ sign. 1 second. Equals @049. Okay, save. As you can see, some of this is a little bit of trial and error, so we're getting through it. Okay, so now I've got a row that I can basically use for a calculation again. Now on the calculation side, I can easily do like something really simple, which is going to be my default number of months that I'm working with, just to verify that everything works. Actually, it should have been multiplied by that because we basically want to be independent of the number of months we pick. So as we get more and more months in here, we want to make this number basically consistent. So let me go back, because we already have the average AR, but it's the average AR for a month, and we're taking a lot of sales. We're taking 9 months of sales and dividing it by essentially 1 average month of AR. So let me fix that. So that would be, we should basically end up with ratios close to 1 around all this information. Okay, so that looks about right. Now, the next thing we have to do is we have to say, well, this is where I get a little worried on my skill set. We need to take this 9 and we need to figure out a formula that would use that 9 and calculate it based on our start and end period parameters. So we would have to go to our formula application here, format year period. That's close. It's format period and shift. That one might do it. This might do it. Now this is going to be a weak formula because it's only, and we're going to put in the period. So we're just going to use the last. We're just going to use the last period for now to make sure this does what we want it to do. And we're going to go end period. Where's my end period? Where are you, Mr. End period? There he is, end period. And we're going to use the one without a shift for now. Report format times end period. Something tells me I'm going to get a bomb on this, but we'll see what we got. Okay, so we did get that 9 out of it based on, so if we go back down to here, we should get a 1, and it'll keep, we didn't, still got a 9. At any rate, I'm going to, I'm going to probably tie it off here, but that's kind of the end of what I wanted to show in terms of how to organize some of the things, how to use boxes, how to manage situations where you want to tabulate where you want to basically, one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to calculate something differently here. I wanted to calculate this based on a different data source, turnover versus ending balance, but yet have them appear in the same line of the report. So all of that has been organized in a fairly cool way just by using our report designer. I saw a bunch of questions coming in. I was fairly focused on what I was doing. What I'm going to do, thanks all for your attention. If there's any other specific questions, I think I might play with this a little more on my own. And then if you want, you've got my email address. I'll send you a copy of the completed report. I'll export it to an XML file, the art report, if you're interested in seeing this and playing with it on your own. once I get it to a state where I'm a little more happy with it than I am now. So once again, everybody, thanks. This is a bonus session. Appreciate your attention.